one more time. Welcome to our vertical slice for Soul Show. Quick basic introduction to our setting. We are in 1843 Victorian London in a steampunk setting. We're set in a factory where a child has discovered that her father might have some nefarious actions. Earlier in that year, the Great Comet passes over much of Europe, and particles have dropped off from it. And her father discovered this and decided to do a little bit of research, as people like Dr. Frankenstein might do. And he has discovered a way to create cyborgs. Cyborgs, when created in mass, might be able to work in factories. They might be able to work on ships. They might fight the wars that they don't want to fight themselves. However, where are these cyborgs coming from? I think what I want to do is that. Well, our child here, Nimue, he was a bit concerned about this because really before these cyborgs came into play, he discovered that there were some animals that had gone missing from the London Zoo, to include maybe a few bears here and there, which her father had used to perform his experiments. Realizing that he had moved on to something a little bit more maybe humanoid, she's decided that she needs to go stop this from happening. So late in December in 1843, Nimue and her new companion Ambrose are going to destroy this factory that her father runs. So this setting in the assembly, which will be our primary first level, he and Ambrose will go in and destroy the capability to create our cyborgs. Isn't cute, guy? Now, Nimue is pretty brilliant herself, and not only did she repurpose Ambrose in order to support her, she created these artifacts using the same oddly supernatural shard in a scientific way to create these artifacts that, when put together, they can be used to create platforms that she could use. This would allow her to jump some distances that she might not be able to normally jump. And that leads us to our cooperative gameplay. So in this particular case, if you're not recalling from the previous update, this is a two-player co-op game designed to create a little bit of an inequity between the two characters. You know, a 400-plus-pound bear and a 12-year-old girl. One's pretty heavy, one's got short legs. One's pretty brilliant, one's a little not human, so he's not smart. Between the two of them, they have to cooperate to get through the world. And oddly enough, as it stands right now, there's an affinity between Ambrose and our artifacts due to this comet shard that Nimue doesn't have. That brings us to our platform. So 1, 2, or 3 of these artifacts, when put together, they can assemble a small, a medium, or a large size platform. And of course, Ambrose can use these. In the case of Nimue, she's pretty smart, even though she doesn't have that affinity. She can modify that platform to give it a repulsive effect, to be able to bounce something off of it. Whether you want to push something away from you or you want to bounce on it to elevate yourself to a higher level. Well, that brings us to the question that we asked last time, is what if you created a platform where you couldn't jump? What if you weren't a Super Mario? Well, they aren't. They don't jump very high at all. So it's a pretty good idea that they have a platform that might jump for them, right? Well, as with any, but they're, believe it or not, concerned about her well-being. So when she goes inside the assembly, they're going to try to get her to safety. So they will come, if they see her, they will come and try to intercept her and take her out of the level. Well, this is a fail state in our game. Now, in the case of Ambrose, Ambrose is yet another cyborg. And, you know, Ambrose is just like them, so they don't care about it. But if Ambrose starts messing with what they gotta do, then he starts drawing their attention, and they'll try to intercept him as well. So if you'll see, that's actually Nimue, out of costume, we'll say, attracting the attention of a couple of our sideboards. And with a little bit of ingenuity, is tricking them down this little pit here. So from here, we would like to show you the mechanical showcase, and I'm going to pass this off to Bree and Trey. And I'm going to take a chance here. We've tried this out. We're going to see if this will work. We're going to drop a mic in front of them. You may not get this on Zoom. And I'm going to knock the volume down just a little bit. But because we want to make sure that you can hear the interaction between Bree and Trey. So if you give us just a moment. Today we actually have four sections to our level. You might conceive them as different levels, but we have in a single prototype level our two characters in the level.
Yep, I have.
All right. And Trey is going to be playing Ambrose here on the left, and Bree is going to be playing Nimue on the right. And by design, we're forcing them to cooperate together. You'll see that Ambrose has a panel. Using that panel is going to unlock this ball. It actually makes sense to measure it. And that allows you to execute this part of the level. But of course, she's blocked off by these in order to get to it, she must enable Ambrose to get a location where he can push a button. Therefore, she has to push this button on the wall first. And one by one, they can move this ball further and further. Oh, well, the idea is if you were to go down, we have no idea. Not for this one.
They were asking you to do
Oh,
Are they trying?
oh, yes.
Can they hear us?
So, yes, there's no game audio. It's really not.
Go with it. Good.
Hold this for you.
And then for the folks in Vermont, we could try this, but unfortunately, we can't get it into the content.
All right.
So the mic was really tough.
Okay. You have it set up.
You got that?
Hello? Yeah. Okay. I have the momentum here. Go. All right. Give another go.
And as you can see, Ambrose is deploying this platform in order to get to places he otherwise couldn't get.
There we go.
the volume must be loud on your end.
Oh, is it?
They're saying, I think they're saying that like they're hearing the longer volume.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Hold this
Turning
one.
down the press.
So that
Okay. I'm gonna set up the shot. Good.
you might want to just reshare.
Oh, okay. Oh, jeez. Or sorry, we have a checkpoint here in like a second, and so I will reshare as soon as we get there.
Go ahead.
And if it's not clear, these blue fields are areas that are going to cause damage to Ambrose. We anticipate this might be some kind of static discharge or an EMP kind of thing to it.
No sharing sound. Right, and so we're in the same spot we just got to. We just skipped ahead. All right, and so together we'll have to hit these two buttons at the same time. Set up.
We are in part 2 now.
Uh-oh.
This is a steam vent here that Nimue is trying to get up to. And to be fair, this is a little bit difficult. And sometimes that platform helps.
It's safe from the androids up here. All right, you want to go downstairs?
Yep.
Nearby.
Here's the bounce platform players. You know it by its blue color.
Hit that switch. Now the conveyor belt is on.
Where's the third one? I don't want to. I don't want them to get me. All right.
1 sec. All right, we're all
And
clear.
of course, Nimue wants to lure the AI into the hole.
So we can both hit these buttons.
All right, you're going chase.
Oh shit. Excuse me.
He's following the thing. All good.
Do we just want to wait until that one passes?
Yeah, he's gonna.
Okay.
That guy, last guy's on patrol, and he's heading out.
Okay, and in case it's not clearly disabled, the kill effect for the AI right now, because to be fair, we'd be here for 20 minutes trying to get through the score level. We're now on to section 3, where we have a crane inside here that's moving crates around. And we're going to use that to get Nimue where she needs to go.
Go check that out. There it
Mhm.
is.
Looks
You'll see
like
that we have a crate here that's going to block her progress.
Can't push it. It's a tiny little barrel. Good one.
back on this.
Thanks. Go that way and there's some fence here.
Follow my way up
So if
here.
it's not clear, there's some vents right here that might normally shoot out steam. If a particular valve was turned on, then Nimue would be
Yes.
able to use that steam to project herself across the room.
All right.
Of course, by getting here, she now has access to a platform or to a lever, and this is going to allow Ambrose to progress further.
Back. Oh, I can run. Okay. Thank you. Nice.
So you didn't notice that Ambrose shot out 2 artifacts. He had a plank that he could walk up in order to connect the gap between the 2. I threw out the 3rd one, and that gave him a much larger platform.
I can fit under here. Ambrose cannot. He's too big and too tall.
Yes.
So I have to take this back. But he's gonna help me get by.
Now we're on to our final section.
This is not the final section.
Oh, it's the third one. Yeah, third one. You have a factory that runs on steam. You're probably going to have a bilge of some sort that's going to collect the excess water.
There's some boys there.
It's there. Locking that lets Nimue on, but also allows the enemies to get to her.
Okay. Okay.
So there is a thing about the AI. The AI, when they spot her and they're in a certain vicinity, they'll try to intercept her. But also in the case of Androids, if he attracts their attention, in either case, if they get far enough away where they can block access, then they readily forget that they were actually chasing him and go back to the job.
Got it.
Yep.
All right.
Let's get her.
Want to do this one first?
Yes.
All right. In.
Okay. So in this particular section, we have an area in this room that actually has a weight sensitive platform and has a capacity. Of course, if we exceed that capacity, then the platform
Yeah,
collapses.
right there's probably good. And
If you
then
happen to be standing on it,
you
you
want
just
it
have to die.
probably far to the left. Yeah, yeah. Right there is probably good. Yeah. All right. He's hopping on. Sneak on behind him. Okay, so then you'll probably want one close to the top, yep, and then to the far right by the door. Right there, yeah, okay. Blue. Blue.
That yellow spot is the platform that is weight sensitive. Again, Ambrose on the right here would not be able to go through these areas that Nimue is going through because this is that imagined electric discharge.
I got it on
That's
the
all right.
conveyor.
The AI also won't go through it because they don't want to die. That's good. I don't think I'll be able to pass.
Oh, is he?
That's
I'll
okay.
have to go across. Can
Oh,
you get
yeah,
him
that's true.
to go back?
All right. So sneak behind him. Do it. I think that'll be a good shot. Yeah, that should work. Good. Okay. Same as before. Check. Okay. Good. Oh, I think you clicked out.
Oh,
Hey,
okay.
I think I can still get them.
Yeah, you can.
Come on. Come on.
Uh-oh.
I think we might be stuck.
Do
That's
they
okay.
respawn?
They do not right now.
Okay, we'll get the last two guys.
Yeah. Go ahead and probably recall that and we can
Yep.
just watch him, finally watch him do it. Yeah.
Goodbye.
Okay. Let's go get the other two.
Perfectly valid. Yeah.
Over there. Okay. There's a door over there. I'm gonna let you in. Better see. Here. Good. The help up there.
This over here.
I'm gonna grab this one here.
So right now, Nimue is trying to snag these AI to get them up on top of the box. This box is above the last level. And if she can get them up there, they put the switch to base.
Got it. Hey,
And
nice.
that's
Got
opening
one.
up this to the level. we're on.
I'll grab this one.
We'll be in the same spot.
And let's count. How many of you guys up to?
This is the
This
last
is the
guy.
last one.
Last guy.
Yeah.
Okay, so when we hit capacity, that light will
Hey,
disappear.
okay. And then I believe I have to let you back out.
Mhm. Yeah, all of our guys are in the on the scale there, which would open the door and finish the mechanical vertical slice.
All right, they win. Okay, Zoom, are we back? Can you hear us?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you for your patience if you could not hear or heard too much. Okay, so at this point, it's a question of scope of where we're at. And if you're following our process so far, we're trying to maintain a very tight scope for this game. We don't want to overcommit because we want to be able to polish in as much as we possibly can everything that we're going to go with. So we have models that we have produced. These models include 21 modular components, and that includes 19 building components, 2 pipe segments, 1 machine arm, a vent, and a conveyor belt. And this we scoped out at 105 hours. We have 6 custom smart materials, and that took 18 hours total. And we have 1 retextured asset pack. Now you'll have recognized this from the previous video that we had. We removed all of the buildings from that asset pack. We may introduce 1 or more later, but only once they've been retextured. But to be fair, once you see what we have, we hope that you like the direction we moved in. So here's an example of those building pieces that we have. And we have been able to use this to construct every building in the hub level at this time. And these are some examples of models that we have that are prepared to go into what will be the assembly level. And at least in a few cases, we have them actually in the hub level right now. Here's some more assets, and you of course saw the vents that were in that last level. Well, that's one of our vents there. And you're going to see a lot of these arms, I think, in the future. And these are the smart materials that we have so far, endeavoring to create that stylized, iconic look that we were going for. And of course, we have characters. And as you can't tell, we have 3 fully modeled and textured characters that are game ready. They're not in the final. They do have a proxy texture that's on them, and they took 87 hours to get there so far. We have 1 artifact, which we really kind of look at as a character as well, that is also fully modeled and textured and game ready, and that took 22 hours. Of course, we really dig these guys, and we can't wait for you to enjoy the animations as well, of which we currently have 12 animations, and these are 36 hours to manufacture. That includes the artifact having an activation, a deactivation, an activation idle, and a deactivated idle. The cyborg has a walk idle and a fidget, as well as Andros, and Nimue has a walk and an idle. And there's one of them for you. I tell you, I like this guy. A little bit of a groove in our cyborg step. Here's an example of the animation for our artifact. We do have VFX as well. We're looking to produce more. We have 6 VFX in play right now that took about 9 hours to do. We have snow, wind, color fog, handle, steam, and artifact light. And here's some examples of those VFX right now. For level design, okay, as you're aware, we took a little bit of a different tact in order to do this, and we have a lot of hours invested in the prototyping for our level, and of course, that's not what the hub looks like. And so we have one prototype level that took 143 hours to produce. We have about 10 minutes of gameplay, unless you activate the AI, and if you're really good, you might still have 10 minutes, but it does last a little bit longer. And we have 4 puzzle sequences, not individual puzzles. So here's what we expect based off of what we've done through pre-production so far. We can create by August 5th 140 environmental assets, 4 additional characters, 90 animations, and 30 minutes of gameplay. That's not exactly how we intend to apply it. There's a couple of decision points that we're going to have here in the future. Based off of, again, pre-production and what's gone into this design for the level so far, by 6 March, we expect to have our sound requests into Brown. Thank you, Brown. 20 March, we expect to have a gray box for the level. 24 March, we'll have tested that gray box. 29 March, we'll have a second pass at the level. And by 3 April, the assets will be due. 4 April is the key date here. 10 April, lighting, first pass, and set dressing. And on 21 April, or by 21 April, we'll have lighting quality pass in the Clever Pass. The reason that 4 April is important to us is because, again, we're trying to keep a very tight scope for the game. We're not going to promise a bunch of levels. We're going to promise that we get a single or a couple of levels very well done. And so on the 4th of April is when we intend to create that or have that decision point in order to decide whether or not we're going to create level 2. There's a very good chance that we will decide not to do that and that we will decide to continue to polish under the current scope of what we have. But that will be a very deliberate choice based off of what we understand about our capacity at that time. Okay. Thank you, artists. That's our vertical slice presentation.